a Republican and Democrat. I'm a libertarian, so I have kind of a different view on what the problems actually are. So anyway, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. If I see something, I'll ask you. And the next one is Brian Jack Holder, running for 3rd District.
Thank you, Charles. My name is Brian Jack Holder. I'm from Council Bluffs, Iowa. I have a Associates of Arts degree in Communication from Iowa Western Community College. I earned a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology from Bellevue University in Bellevue, Nebraska, and I earned a law degree from Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska. Throughout my lifetime, when I was young, I registered with the Democratic Party and voted for those parties' candidates for a couple of election cycles. And they passed some laws during the 90s that had to do with gun control, and that was sort of the last time that I voted for the Democratic Party candidates. I voted and registered as a Republican in the early 2000s and voted for those candidates. But about 3 years ago, I got involved in politics just as an average citizen. I wanted to find out exactly how much of an impact, how much of a difference just one of us can make in the political process. I started out just as a political activist, attending meetings, but after about 8 months of that, I decided to run for Congress. Actually, the girlfriend I had at the time told me I should run for Congress, so maybe you shouldn't always take advice from your girlfriend, but I ran for Congress 2 years ago with no party affiliation, and back in June, I left the Republican Party and I joined the Libertarian Party. And some people may ask, what's a libertarian? Well, it's a party, but it's also a political philosophy. And it's got two main components. The first one is self-ownership, that we own ourselves and we have the right to our bodies, to the fruits of our labor. The second thing is that we're also responsible for our actions. So we're not supposed to violate what's called the non-aggression principle. So it is morally wrong, as libertarians, we believe this, to initiate force against another person, to engage in fraud, and it's sort of the live and let live philosophy. So when I ran 2 years ago, I got 1.5% of the vote for the district, which encompasses Des Moines and 16 counties in southwest Iowa, and I'm hoping for 5% of the vote this time around. So when you're just an average citizen and you don't raise millions of dollars to run for an office like this, to go to Washington, D.C., you have to do something creative to get people's attention. So I fashioned this tri-corner Liberty hat 3 years ago just as a conversation piece. Some of you may have heard about Edward Snowden and the fact that our federal government has been spying on us in violation of the Fourth Amendment. And the Fourth Amendment requires that the government get an actual warrant before they search through our phones and our computers, that we have an expectation of privacy in our communications. And that was one of the reasons for the American Revolution that you'll be learning about, is that the British government issued what was called a general writ, which gave the British troops permission from the Crown to go through your desk drawers, to go through your cupboards, to look and find any evidence of violations of British law. So the founders, they had an argument when the country was founded. You know, when they designed the Constitution, some of the founders thought that they didn't need a Bill of Rights. They thought that the powers in the Constitution that were limited and enumerated would be able to control the government. And then there was another group of founders called the Anti-Federalists, and they believed that we needed a Bill of Rights. We needed a specific list of rights that the government was bound to respect. So thankfully, the Anti-Federalists got their way, and the Constitution was ratified, but only with the Bill of Rights included. That was one of the grand bargains of our Constitution. The last thing I'll talk to you about is representation. It's been over 100 years since the federal government has given us as citizens any more seats in the United States House of Representatives. There's 435 congressional districts in our country of 320 million people. And that's way too much power concentrated in too few hands. And there is one amendment from the founding of this country that was never ratified to become part of the Bill of Rights. But it would limit our congressional district to 50,000 people. Now our district here has 500,000 people in it. So nearly 500,000 people. If I was elected, I'd be responsible for making decisions that would affect your life. So the founders wanted smaller districts so that representatives like me would be closer to the people so we could understand your problems, be able to relate to you, and to help make wise decisions on your behalf. So I want to thank you for listening to me today, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My website is Holder for Iowa. That's HOLDERFOR Iowa.com. Thank you. What's that? That's my website.
Okay, and we, as we move into our next unit about American Revolution, Constitution,